Hello everyone, here is your introduction to structural equation modeling. So SEM is a modeling technique that is used to establish relationships between lots of different variables, observed and latent, and it's really ideal for exploring the cause and effect relationships. It's a combination of confirmatory factor analysis, CFA, and regression. So for those of you who have taken HLM, that modeling technique was a combination of regression and ANOVA. Here we are combining CFA and regression. It is a confirmatory technique. You're going to be sick of me saying this, but that means that hypothesis and models are established first. So we figure out and we design this model, and then we collect data to see if it actually fits our model. And SEM is actually a family of techniques, and you're going to hear this called a lot of different things. So path analysis, path modeling, causal modeling, analysis of covariant structures, latent variable analysis, linear structural relationships. But we're going to be focusing on three. And before we do that, we need to talk about covariance. This has to do with how two variables change together. This is vital to understand because everything about SEM is based on covariance. So if covariance is high, that means that as one is varying, the other is varying in a similar manner. Those items get grouped together. And if the covariance is low, then those items are actually grouped away from each other. We've seen this when we talked about exploratory factor analysis and how the items group together. And what covariance is it's unstandardized correlation. So instead of it being -1 to +1, it is the actual raw data. And again, this is the basis of SEM. So what we're doing is we're trying to understand patterns of correlations among sets of variables. And if this covariance of the data is matching the model that we hypothesized and we designed, then we can consider the model a plausible explanation of the relationships between those variables. So here's the logic of SEM. We create a model and we are trying to test a theory. We're trying to confirm, does this model work with the data that we collected? Here's a couple examples. If I have 5 items that I think load together on a knowledge of assessment factor. So these 5 items are all about knowledge, while another 6 items should load on an application factor because they're all about application of assessment. I can test that. Another example, if I take those knowledge items and see if they actually will predict these application items, I can do that. And I can also see if it's mediated by content that the teachers teach and by teaching experience. So if I think knowledge leads to application, but that connection is tighter for experienced teachers than for new teachers, I could test that. If I think that connection between knowledge and application is tighter for math and science teachers or special ed teachers than maybe social studies teachers or even music teachers or art teachers that maybe don't have the same assessment understanding or access as the others, I can be testing that. So we're creating a theorized model and then using the actual data that we collect to see if it fits. So we get an established or predicted model covariance. Here's what we would expect this model to, how this model should covary. And then we compare that to the actual covariance that we see in the data. SEM is really cool and it's better than regression. For example, we can have multiple dependent variables. Think about that for a minute. We can run several regression models with multiple dependent variables all at the same time. It also allows for covariance between those variables. Regression adjusts for this. Regression doesn't like the covariance between independent variables. So if you think back to your regression classes, collinearity was really bad. Here, no big deal. And also, regression assumed perfect measurement. So if we were measuring that knowledge item, we would have a single number, probably a mean of those items, that we assume is perfect. SEM actually accounts for measurement error in all 5 of those items at the same time. So CFA over exploratory factor analysis. Biggest thing is that CFA is based on theory. So again, we create these models a priori based on some kind of hypotheses, ideally from the literature, but a lot of times it's just logic-based. It is not exploratory. An EFA is not in the SEM family. It's not determined a priori, or it's not based on theory. It's completely exploratory, and the items load on all factors at the same time. EFA actually has its own family group with principal component analysis, if you remember PCA, and principal axis factoring, etc. And EFA actually has more restrictions on the items and the factors than CFA. So here's a comparison. This model that you see right now is EFA. So we have 8 items that we are loading onto 3 different factors. These 3 factors were pulled based on eigenvalues, or maybe we forced 3 factors in PCA, whatever it ended up being. But what it does is it loads all 8 items on each factor at the same time to see what are the factor loadings. Is it loading more on this one versus this one? Is it loading on both of them? All those decisions. CFA looks a lot cleaner because we are determining these 3 items should load here. These 3 items are about factor 1's construct. These 3 items, 4, 5, and 6, should be loading on factor 2, and of course 7 and 8 should be loading on factor 3. So we determine them a priori and then see, does the data fit this? If you're wondering what SEM actually does, that's going to be the next video.